I'm not an expert. I'm not an authority. I'm someone who has been a murderer for almost 20 years.
The true case that inspired Mindhunter before Mindhunter became one of Netflix's most chilling psychological dramas. There was a real case, one that changed the way the FBI understood the mind of a killer. A case so disturbing, it forced agents to ask, not how someone kills, but why. This is the true story that inspired Mindhunter. In the early 1970s, America was living in fear. Headlines were filled with stories of men who seemed ordinary, yet capable of unimaginable crimes. There were no clear patterns, no motives that made sense. Law enforcement had no psychological framework to understand them. Each new case seemed random, chaotic, impossible to predict. But behind that chaos, there was a pattern. It just hadn't been discovered yet. And then came a man named Edmund Kemper, standing 6'9", highly intelligent, calm and polite. Kemper didn't fit the image of a monster. He spoke softly, he appeared thoughtful, but behind that calm exterior, his mind was a battlefield. Kemper's story began long before the crimes. As a child, he was isolated, emotionally abused, and constantly rejected. His mother, Clarnell, humiliated him for years, calling him worthless and dangerous. He was locked in the basement at night, forced to sleep among the shadows, and like many later profilers would discover, that mix of humiliation and isolation created something dark inside him. By his teenage years, Kemper's thoughts turned violent, not out of rage, but out of curiosity. He once said, "I just wanted to see what it felt like." That one sentence would become a haunting clue for future profilers, a sign of emotional detachment and the absence of empathy. He didn't see people as people. He saw them as symbols in his inner war. Years later, after his arrest, Kemper didn't act like most criminals. He didn't deny anything. He didn't run. He confessed. And more than that, he wanted to talk. When FBI agents from the newly formed Behavioral Science Unit met him, they realized they had a unique opportunity. For the first time, they could sit across from a serial killer who wanted to explain himself. At that time, psychology and criminal investigation rarely worked together. The idea of interviewing killers to understand their motives was considered strange, even dangerous. But Kemper changed that. He described every detail of his thought process, not to shock, but to be understood. He talked about control, resentment, fantasy, and the moment those fantasies became reality. It was disturbing, but it was also the beginning of something new: criminal profiling. In Mindhunter, the characters, Holden Ford and Bill Tench, are inspired by real agents Johnny Douglas and Robert Ressler, the pioneers of this method. Their interviews with Edmund Kemper were among the first in history to explore the psychological motives behind serial crime. The real Kemper became a case study, a blueprint for understanding others who would follow. His calm tone, his intelligence, his willingness to analyze his own mind made him both fascinating and terrifying. In the show, this relationship between the agents and Kemper is recreated with eerie accuracy. Those chilling conversations weren't fiction. They were transcripts from real FBI interviews. But what makes this story truly haunting isn't what Kemper did. It's who he was. He wasn't a monster from a horror movie. He was intelligent, polite, even helpful to prison staff. That contradiction, a human face hiding inhuman thoughts, is what fascinated the creators of Mindhunter. It's what the series explores so well. That evil doesn't always look evil. It can sound polite, it can seem rational, and sometimes it even wants to help you understand it. The real story of Edmund Kemper didn't just inspire a TV show. It reshaped the way investigators think about crime, motive, and the human psyche. It laid the foundation for modern criminal profiling, influencing how detectives study behavior even today. And it reminds us of something deeply unsettling, that understanding evil doesn't make it disappear. It just makes it harder to forget.